Hello and welcome to Archerfield, where today I've been out testing Nike's new range of Vapor drivers. Now there are three in the family to talk about. The first is the Pro, which is this one here, which has the same sort of cavity back technology that Nike have become famous for over the last few years, which should aid the MOI of the driver and make it more forgiving. It has the black sort of PVD finish on the face, and is the driver that Rory McIlroy put into the bag during the Ryder Cup this year. The second driver in the range is called the Speed. This is designed to have that little bit more forgiveness than the Pro. It looks a little bit bigger at address, has a silver face here and the same cavity back technology. Now interestingly, Nike have introduced a third driver to their range this year called the Flex. And this one has a pod in the back of the driver here, and this enables players who maybe suffer from a little bit too much spin just to be able to dial that centre of gravity position into where they want it to bring the spin down. So for instance, if you are somebody that can't get on a launch monitor those spin numbers down below 4,000, this might well have the answer. This might be able to just move that centre of gravity position into a point where you get that spin down and you get your overall driver distance up. It's now common to all three drivers is this compression channel that they've put in behind the face here. Now this should essentially just make the face that little bit more lively, so you should get a little bit more ball speed. Now, as I say, I've been out and had the chance to test all three drivers, and it's important to say that last year I was quite a big fan of this new technology that they brought into the back of the head in the Nike Covert 2.0. When I first heard about the technology, I was a little bit worried that it might make the driver sound a little bit odd. But it didn't, and I'm glad to say that with the new version of that, it still sounds fantastic. Now they have made a few upgrades, a few improvements to this fly brace technology. Essentially they've brought these bars in which helps to sort of stabilise the back of the head. And if you can stabilise the back of the head, the idea is that it makes the front of the face that little bit more active, that little bit more lively for more ball speed. So I started out with the Pro in this Diamana blue shaft, which is the shaft that I have currently in my own driver. I'm currently using a Titleist 915 driver. And as soon as I put it down behind the ball, I love the way it looks. It does have some interesting new graphics on the crown of the golf club, which didn't bother me at all at address. One thing that I'm still not 100% sure about is having the Nike swoosh in the heel of the golf club. For me, it would make more sense to be front and centre to help as some sort of alignment aid, but I understand that they don't want that. They want the classic look at address, and they certainly got that. And the shots that I was hitting with this were really solid. I think for me, the feeling of having that cavity back in the back of the sole, so slight shots out of the heel and toe, I actually didn't notice them, and with the launch monitor data, the performance was right up there. I then swapped into the new Flex driver, and this was a really interesting experiment for me because I was interested to see how the new technology would work in terms of moving this pod around at the back of the golf club. Now I started with it in the mid position, and with a loft of around 10.5 I think it was, and I was getting great launch and good spin characteristics. The only problem being that when I really hit one well, that spin probably went up a little bit higher than I'd want. So what we did was we turned the loft up a little bit, moved the spin to a position where it was low, and the launch characteristics I was getting was even better then, and I actually ended up with some really fantastic launch monitor stats. Now for me, the biggest point of difference between the Pro version and the new Flex version is I loved the way the new Flex version felt. Just having that little bit more meat behind the face, I think just made it feel that little bit more solid through the ball. When I hit them well, I hit them really well with this. I got really good distance, fantastic carry, fantastic overall yardage. So obviously something that would really impress me if I was going through a fitting. My worry would be, and I haven't had the opportunity to test both out on the golf course yet, but my worry would be that out on the golf course, this would be a little less forgiving than this. As you can see, there's a big difference in the sole of this golf club, and this cavity has been brought in to make this more forgiving. The sort of little necky cut that I hit from time to time, I've got a feeling the Pro version would be that little bit more forgiving. Now I also hit shots with the Speed version of this driver, and I really like the way it looks at address. That slightly bigger look, it has what they describe as a bigger footprint at address. You can see a little bit more of the head at address, and the silver face in particular looking down on a lot of loft means that for me, I don't feel like I have to hit it too hard to get really good performance out of it. I hit it well, but with regards to the launch monitor stats, it was launching a little bit high. It was probably spinning a little bit more than I'd want. So if I was going for a fitting, it would be a very interesting result to see whether I'd end up with the Pro or the Flex, because if I was going purely by the launch monitor numbers and the best numbers I was able to produce, it would be the Flex. But if I was being a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit more practical, thinking about which one was going to probably help me around the golf course better, I think I'd probably end up with the Pro, which is this one here. Anyway, that's my own personal opinion on the Nike Vapor drivers. Be very interested to hear what you have to say, so please leave comments below. But for now, from Archerfield, it's goodbye.